You're backstage at a small-town lecture hall in the 1930s. A nervous speaker paces, heart racing, palms sweaty. Suddenly, Dale Carnegie steps up, calm as a lighthouse in the storm. He tells the crowd, "Fear is a liar. Speak what you know and expect success." But how do you erase that fear and truly command a room? Let's unpack this classic secret from a pioneer who taught millions to find their voice and not just speak, but enchant. The toughest part isn't talent or technique, it's showing up. Carnegie knew the battlefield: trembling hands, dry throat, mind blank. What's the trick to turning fear into your co-pilot instead of your enemy? In Carnegie's famed New York classes, rookie speakers stumbled, some froze mid-sentence. But with every stumble, they learned something vital: fear fades when you speak again. One sweaty student, Sarah, slapped down her panic by delivering her talk 3 times. By the third round, she was commanding that room like a seasoned orator. Carnegie's punchline: the cure for fear is practice, plain and simple. Imagine fear as a shadow that stretches longer when you back away. Walk towards it, step into the light of preparation and experience. In the shadow, your fear shortens. Practice is your spotlight. The more you illuminate your material, the dimmer the fear becomes. It's like walking through a dark tunnel. Once you start moving, the exit comes into view. Carnegie didn't just tell you to believe in success. He argued your expectation is a script your brain replays. If you prepare and expect to fail, you rehearse disaster. But if you expect to connect, your voice and body naturally align. It's like jazz improvisation. You trust your knowledge and let the magic happen. Suddenly, the room feels less like an arena and more like a conversation. Ever choke because you're stuck inside your own head? Carnegie nailed it. It's not about you. But how do you disconnect from self-consciousness and get absorbed in what you're saying? Carnegie tells a story about a salesman named Tom who struggled until he stopped obsessing over his own nerves. Instead, he buried himself in his product's story, genuinely caring about his customers' success. Suddenly, Tom's speeches weren't rehearsed monologues, but conversations bubbling with passion. His secret: absorption in the subject, banished all self-doubt, making his voice unforgettable. Think of your talk as a tennis match. When you focus on hitting the ball back to your audience, reading their moves, adjusting your pace, it becomes dynamic and alive. Public speaking thrives on this give and take. The audience isn't a wall, it's a mirror reflecting your energy. When you treat listeners like partners, you stop performing and start connecting. Turning the spotlight inward traps you in a loop of anxiety and self-judgment. Imagine trying to dance while watching your own feet obsessively. It kills your rhythm. Carnegie's principle is clear: disconnect from yourself and dive into your message. The payoff is freedom. Your authentic voice flows and your listeners lean in, captivated. Preparation is overrated. Nope. Carnegie flips this. Preparation isn't rigid rehearsal, it's the springboard for your best unscripted moments. Why does deep prep free you to soar rather than weigh you down? Joseph Berg Esenwein, co-author and story expert, emphasized knowing your material so well that you can shed your notes. One student who mastered this approach told stories that felt fresh because he wasn't reading lines, he was living his narrative. This deep mastery gave him room to improvise and read the room, which transformed dry speeches into magnetic experiences. Carnegie explains that a clear speech outline is like the skeleton of a dance routine, flexible but defined. It guides you so you don't get lost but lets you flow naturally within the moves. This structure frees you to respond to audience energy, crack a timely joke, or pause for effect without panic. Expecting success isn't wishful thinking, it's a neurological hack. Your brain constantly forecasts outcomes based on belief patterns. If you feed it failure predictions, you trigger stress and freeze, but feed it success and your brain releases dopamine and endorphins, turning fear into excitement. Suddenly, public speaking feels less like a threat and more like an opportunity. Remember that trembling speaker from the intro? You could be them, or you could be Carnegie's Sarah, walking off stage victorious. The secret didn't lie in magic, but in facing fear head-on, losing the me in the message, and preparing like your next talk is the start of something new. So here's your shot. Pick one small audience, your friends, your mirror, your cat, and talk. Expect success. Your best speech starts now. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.